The Hapsburgs, one of the most powerful dynasties in Europe, but their legacy came at a high price. In order to keep power and property within the family, given the high infant mortality and female mortality rates, they often married among themselves, which led to some of the closest marriages in history. Today we look at the 5 closest incestuous relationships among the Habsburgs and explain exactly how these royals were related to each other. Number 1. Charles of Inner Austria and Maria of Bavaria. Charles of Inner Austria married his own niece, Maria, in 1571. Maria's mother, Anna of Austria, was Charles's own sister, and their son married even closer in the family. Number 2. Emperor Ferdinand II and Maria Anna of Bavaria. Charles's and Maria's son, Ferdinand II, the future emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, married Maria Anna of Bavaria in 1600. A particularly complicated story because Ferdinand was not only her cousin, but he was also the great-uncle of his own wife. How is that possible? Maria Anna's father and Ferdinand's mother were siblings, and in addition, Ferdinand was his wife's great-uncle because of her father, William, was her own husband's great-uncle. The life of Ferdinand II and the history of the 30 Years' War at the time can be found in this video. Number 3. Philip II of Spain and Anne of Austria. In the 60th and 70th centuries, the Habsburg line was divided into a Spanish and an Austrian line. Philip II of Spain married Anna of Austria, his own niece, in 1570. As Anna's mother was Philip's sister, here too, power politics took precedence over everything else. Through such marriages, succession to the throne and property remained within the immediate family circle, and above all, the vast territorial inheritance of Spain and the territories in South America. Philip IV of Spain and Maria Anna of Austria. Here we have another case of marriage from the Austrian line into the Spanish line. Philip, King of Spain, continued the pattern and in 1649 married Maria Anna of Austria. Again, his own niece. Philip's sister had been the mother of his wife. The Habsburg lip. Perhaps you have already noticed that in many paintings of the Habsburgs you can see a prominent chin and a striking lower lip. This feature is so well known that it has even been given a name, the Habsburg lip. The reason for this, as you can probably imagine, was the very close incestuous marriages. An extreme genetic narrowing. As a result, this distinctive facial feature became widespread, a long chin and a bulging lower lip. Sometimes it was so severe that the affected individuals could no longer close their jaws. A study from 2019-2020 examined 66 paintings of 15 Habsburgs from the 15th to the 17th centuries. In addition, a family tree of 6,000 Habsburgs spanning 20 generations. This study was used to calculate a measure of inbreeding. And at that time, a clear statistically significant correlation was established between the degree of kinship and the extent of the lower jaw or lower lip. And that is not only unattractive from today's perspective, but also noticed negatively by contemporaries. Gasparo Contarini, a Venetian diplomat and later cardinal of the Roman Church at the beginning of the 16th century, described Emperor Charles V. There is nothing to complain about in his body, except his chin and the lower part of his face, which is so wide and so long that when he closes his mouth, he cannot bring his upper and lower teeth together, but a gap remains between them. But the manifestations of this genetic defect were particularly severe in Emperor Leopold at the end of the 17th century. He is described as follows. He's a young man of medium height, without a beard, with narrow hips, not exactly fat and corpulent. His lips are thick like those of a camel. Whenever he speaks, saliva drips from his mouth and his camel lips. The radiantly beautiful servants who stand by his side constantly wipe away the drool with huge red cloths. He himself constantly combs his curls and ringlets with a comb. His fingers look like cucumbers. Of course, we don't know how much credence to give this statement, as it was written by an enemy of the Habsburgs. However, looking at pictures, Leopold's lower lip did appear to be very pronounced. This is not surprising, as this was the period when Habsburg marriage alliances were at their most extreme, as we will now see in Leopold's own wedding. Number 5. Emperor Leopold I and Margarita Theresa of Spain. This was probably the most extreme case of Habsburg marriage policy. Emperor Leopold married the Spanish Infanta Margarita Theresa in 1666, who was both his first cousin and his niece. How is that possible? Leopold's mother and Margarita Theresa's father, Philip IV of Spain, whom we heard earlier about, were siblings. Thus, husband and wife were cousins. And how is that Leopold was also his wife's uncle? Leopold's sister Maria Anna of Austria was the mother of his wife Margarita Theresa. This meant that Leopold's and Margarita Theresa's daughter, Maria Antonia, who was born in 1669, had the highest inbreeding coefficient ever measured in a Habsburg, namely 30%. And Margarita Theresa's brother, Charles II, the last Habsburg king of Spain, was so ill that he would ultimately end the line of the Spanish Habsburgs. These numerous incestuous relationships, due to this extensive inbreeding, he was severely ill, mentally and physically impaired, and remained childless. Therefore, his death led to the Spanish War of Succession and the final loss of these territories for the Habsburgs. If you would like to know more about what happened in Spain, please watch this video. Developments in the 19th century. Well, those were the most extreme cases. Cousins still married each other in the 19th century in the Habsburg family. For example, Emperor Franz Joseph and Elizabeth, nicknamed Sissi, were first cousins, as their mothers were sisters. Speaking of Franz Joseph's mother, Sophie Friederike of Bavaria, married Franz Karl of Austria, whose father was married to Sophie's older sister Caroline Auguste, which made the two sisters both mother-in-law and daughter-in-law at the same time. And Emperor Franz Joseph's nephew, Franz Ferdinand, whose assassination in 1914 led to the outbreak of World War I, summarized the whole situation. Angered by the marriage policies in his family, he wrote, "When one of us likes someone, there is always some minor detail in the family tree that prohibits the marriage. And so it happens that in our family, husband and wife always are 20 times related to each other. The result is that half of the children are idiots and epileptics." Do you know similar stories from other ruling houses? Write it down in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories from the Habsburg family and Austrian history, subscribe to my channel and activate the bell.